5 serial killers that got away with it. Number 5. The Zodiac Killer. Going back to the late 1960s and into the early 1970s, America was rocked on its foundations by a string of murders that still go unsolved today in 2019. The unidentified serial killer nicknamed the Zodiac Killer, birthed by a series of letters and cryptograms sent to the Bay Area press, allegedly by the killer himself. It's rumoured that he claimed up to 37 lives. 2 men that he had targeted managed to escape, and were able to provide police with a description which was drawn and turned into a wanted poster. The more lives the Zodiac Killer claimed to take, the more of his taunting letters the police and press would receive, often with a bit of clothing or personal belonging from the victim as proof that he was in fact the real deal. His letters and cryptograms normally marked with the infamous crosshair symbol. Only one of the cryptograms have ever been solved. However, the Zodiac Killer was never found nor arrested and could still be at large to this day. It's heartbreaking to know the families of his victims may never see justice. Number 4. Bible John. This case takes us to the land of Scotland. Back to the years between 1968 and 1969, there were the bodies of 3 young women found after having been at Barrowland Ballroom. Although all murders showed the evidence of being the work of one person, there was no trace of evidence to lead towards an arrest. The suspect is tied to the rape and beatings that accompany the murder. There is a suspect named Peter Tobin who police had a picture of, and it was shown to a rape victim who survived, who identified him as Bible John. However, without definite matching DNA results, it's all down to speculation. Original DNA samples from previous crime scenes hadn't been stored properly, which has led to deterioration. Due to the circumstances, it's unlikely that Bible John will ever be brought to justice. Number 3. The Craigslist Ripper. A case based in Long Island, New York started out with police investigating the disappearance of a missing woman in 2010. Dismembered body parts kept showing up over the next several months. The discoveries led to a mass grave which unearthed the remains of at least 10 victims. Among the remains, the killer had stooped low enough to take the life of a child. The NYPD called in the FBI to document and isolate a stretch of land near Gilgo Beach to conduct their investigation. During the FBI investigation, there were at least 6 further disappearances which either resulted in death or no trace at all. The missing people, when discovered after having met their tragic ends, all had similarities in the method of murder, which began to connect dots for a potential profile. However, not even the FBI were successful in solving these murders. Some of the victims were sex workers who had advertised their service on Craigslist, thus the killer being given the nickname the Craigslist Ripper. Today, the Craigslist Ripper is still at large. Number 2. The Sleepy Hollow Killer. Near the end of the 1990s, a wave of murders hit Pietermaritzburg in South Africa. At least 16 women were victim of a serial killer who still to this day remains unidentified. After being raped and then strangled with their own underwear, the women were dumped near the N3 highway. As this became more frequent, authorities began to exhume women's remains from mountain rise to try and achieve identification via facial reconstruction, also to try and gather more evidence to create leads for a suspect. However, it led to little to no success. In 2007, there were 3 women found deceased between February and October with the same trademark of sexual assault and strangulation. Authorities didn't have much to go on, as the corpses had all been burned to a state beyond recognition. Number 1. O.J. Simpson. Okay, so I know what you were thinking. OJ wasn't a serial killer, which is true. However, he was a part of one of the most famous murder trials in the US. Despite evidence against him, walked away a free man. This story takes us back to 1994. OJ was the prime suspect of the murder of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend Ronald Goldman. This case was such a big deal, more than 100 million people over the world were on the edge of their seat as the former NFL player faced murder charges. During the trial, 911 recordings were played to the jury, which revealed Nicole scared that OJ had intent of killing her. It was brought to light that he had previously beat her to the point of hospitalization. Despite OJ's past intentions, he was acquitted of all charges. His celebrity friends had his back and allegedly tried to sway public opinion, which may have included the jury. Just maybe, money speaks louder than evidence. Thank you for watching. Feel free to subscribe for more paranormal and mysterious content from all around the world.